It was one of those mornings that felt borrowed from a postcard: clear sky, warm sun, and the quiet of a neighborhood not yet fully awake. I sat alone at the small round table by the window, a cup of coffee growing cold beside me and a carefully wrapped gift on my lap: silver ribbon, white paper, her favorite scent tucked inside. It was for Savannah, my sister. We were never close. But that didn't matter now. Today was supposed to be her day. I wasn't invited officially. Still, I told myself it was just an oversight. Families make mistakes. We forgive. My phone buzzed. A text. From my mother. 3 short sentences. Don't come to the wedding. It'll be better that way. Please respect our decision. No explanation. No warmth. Just finality. I read it again. And again. My stomach turned cold. I sat there, gift still in hand, unsure if I should laugh or cry. Instead, I whispered to no one: how could they? We were born 18 months apart. You'd think that'd make us close. But in our house, closeness wasn't a given. It was earned, or, in Savannah's case, gifted. Growing up, she was the golden one. Savannah got the compliments, the attention, the extra slice of cake. I got overlooked. Maybe it started small: birthday cards addressed only to her, even when they meant both of us. Maybe it was the time she broke Mom's favorite vase, and I took the blame. Because she cried. And I didn't. The gap only widened with time. She got into Penn State. I went to community college and worked weekends. She brought home charming boyfriends. I brought home ideas, none of them good enough. When Savannah got engaged, the family practically threw a parade. Her fiancé, Tyler, was flashy. The kind of guy who orders expensive wine just to talk about it. My parents adored him. He treats her like royalty, Dad said once, without irony. They hovered over wedding plans like it was a royal coronation. It was the most I'd seen them involved in anything since my grandmother passed. And me? I watched from the edges. Still, I never expected this. I didn't wait. I got in my car and drove straight to my parents' house. It was mid-morning. Their lawn was freshly mowed, tulips in bloom. Everything looked normal. My mother opened the door like she'd been expecting a neighbor, not her daughter. "Hi, sweetie," she said. Her voice syrupy. Too sweet. I walked in. My dad was in the den, pretending to read the paper. I stood there. Why? My voice cracked. Neither of them looked at me. My mother reached for a dish towel she didn't need. "It's better this way," she said softly. "There's just tension." Tension? I repeated. What tension? My father cleared his throat but said nothing. Then she said it. "Tyler thinks you're too unpredictable. He's worried you might say something." I felt the slap, though no hand had moved. I looked at my dad. "Do you believe that?" He didn't answer. I've never caused drama. I just stopped pretending everything was fine. Mom sighed. "This day is about Savannah. We want it to be peaceful. And that means cutting me out?" She looked me in the eye. "We'll be riding in the new car Tyler gave her. It's a big day." I couldn't speak. I walked out. The drive home was a blur of stoplights and silent screaming. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. Back home, I parked and sat in the driveway. No music. No phone. Standing next to a sleek black luxury SUV, beaming like she'd won a game I didn't know we were still playing. The caption? Can't wait to ride with mom and dad to the wedding in this beauty. No tag. No mention. Like I didn't exist. Like I'd never existed. The comments poured in, stunning ride. You deserve it. So happy for you, girl. All of it polished, perfect. I stared at the photo. That car wasn't just a gift. It was a billboard. Look who we care about. Look who we stand behind. I thought back to my wedding, if you could even call it that. Small. No car. No dad walking me down the aisle. Just me and a courthouse clerk with a tired smile. They barely showed up. I remember my mother saying, it's just not the right time for us. But now? Now they'd ride in style. Front row. Dressed up and smiling for photos. That car had room for everyone but me. Not jealousy. Just clarity. I set the phone down. And breathed. Then picked it back up. I hovered over the comment box beneath her photo. Typed, glad to see the family finally show up for something. Paused. Deleted it. No point. Instead, I opened my own page and wrote, funny how silence is the loudest thing in some families. No names. No event. Just truth. The messages started within minutes. Are you okay? What happened? Is this about your sister? I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Then Melissa messaged me privately. We hadn't talked in years, but I remembered her, freckles, sharp wit, always said what no one else dared. She wrote, you always deserved more. We all saw it back then. I stared at her words for a long time. Longer than I meant to. Someone else saw it. Someone else remembered. I wasn't crazy. By early afternoon, I was back to pacing in my apartment when the doorbell rang. It was them. My parents. I opened the door but didn't move aside. We thought we should check in, my mother said. Her eyes scanned my living room like she was evaluating it. I let them in. She sat. He stood. We know you're upset, she began, but this week isn't the time to make it about you. I laughed. Once. Sharp. She reached into her purse and placed an envelope on the kitchen counter. Just a little something for rent. Things are expensive. I opened it. A check. Memo line, keep quiet, respect Savannah's day. I didn't tear it up. Didn't shout. I just slid it back toward her. You think this is about money? My father stepped forward, trying his calm voice. Don't make us choose between our daughters. You already did. He didn't answer. I held his stare. I never needed money from you. Just decency. They left soon after. No hugs. No eye contact. And I didn't follow them to the door. Later that night, I was washing dishes when something caught my eye on the small bulletin board I kept above the sink, an old photo of me and Savannah. I hadn't noticed it in a while. She was wearing my necklace. The one I gave her years ago, when her life was falling apart in college. She'd lost her scholarship, broken up with a guy, and I took it off my neck and gave it to her. She didn't say thank you. Didn't have to. That necklace showed up in her wedding photo. The one with the car. She still wears it. Takes what I give. Erases where it came from. I took the photo down. Dropped it in a drawer. Closed it slowly. By nightfall, I needed air. I walked. Past streetlights and blooming dogwoods. Past memories. My old family house stood still under the porch lights. And there it was. The car. Black, polished, reflecting every lie back at me. I stood across the street, took out my phone, and snapped a photo. Then uploaded it. Caption: sometimes, the vehicle says more than the passengers. I powered off my phone. Walked back in silence. Let them enjoy their ride. I've got my own route to draw. It was nearing sunset when my phone buzzed on the counter. I almost didn't check it, had trained myself lately not to expect good news from that screen, but the name Mom glowed anyway. Her message read, "Come over. I want you to see something special in the wedding album." I stared at the text, rereading it. No apology, no explanation, just another invitation to watch the show from the sidelines. Still, I grabbed my keys. The air had cooled by the time I parked in front of their house. Same house I grew up in. Same chipped white shutters, same flower beds my mother still maintained like a battlefield she refused to lose. Inside, the living room looked staged. Fresh flowers on the side table, tea already poured, and in the center, a thick white photo album resting open like a prize. "We want your input," Mom said cheerfully. "Pick your favorite childhood photo. We're framing a family display wall for the wedding." My chest tightened. She flipped a few pages, gesturing for me to look through. So I did. The first few pages were harmless. Birthdays, Christmases, beach trips. Then I got to the wedding section. And I stopped cold. There they were, my father, mother, Savannah in white, grinning. The car. The ceremony. Group shots with extended family. But not me. I wasn't standing at the edge. I wasn't hidden in the back. I wasn't there at all. I flipped again. Same. Page after page. I had been erased. My voice didn't rise. "Where am I in these photos?" Mom blinked. "Oh, honey, that's just a creative layout choice. We didn't want to clutter the spread." "Creative?" I said. "You mean exclusion." Dad muttered something about too many faces in one frame, logistics. I looked at both of them. So we're allowed to curate family now? Decide who gets to be visible? They glanced at each other like I was the one making this awkward. And then it hit me, this wasn't new. Graduation photos where I was standing off-center. Christmas shots where I was behind the tree. Always slightly out of focus. Always almost invisible. My eyes landed on a portrait across the room, one I hadn't noticed in years. A family photo from when I was 15. Everyone smiling. I was barely a shadow behind Savannah's shoulder. While they bickered, I stepped over to it. A folded slip of paper was tucked beneath the frame's corner. My gut tightened. I slid it out quietly, unfolded it. In Mom's unmistakable handwriting. "You will always stay behind the curtain." No date. No context. Just those words. I turned to her, holding the note. She froze. "Where did you get that?" "You left it," I said. "Right where you always put me. Under your picture-perfect family." She reached for it. I pulled it back. Dad sighed. Looked away. I stared at them both. And I felt it, that slow, deliberate anger that doesn't shout, but burns. I thought of every craft project I stayed up late finishing for Savannah's school events. The hours I spent making centerpieces for Mom's charity auctions. The birthday gifts I bought with my own part-time money. None of it ever earned a thank you, let alone a place in their frame. A daughter can be erased with a pen stroke. I folded the note back. My hands didn't shake anymore. I played over the one Savannah posed with on Instagram like it was her birthright. Buyer name, Trent Forsyth/Ramona Abernathy. But the funds, they came from my account. The same week I'd paid off the last of my loan. The same week Ramona asked me to co-sign something small for family investments. No. No, no. I opened old emails. Pulled up loan documents. Receipts. There it was again, an email thread where Ramona asked me to sign a loan side agreement for a family trust adjustment. I remembered that day. I was rushing. She stood in my kitchen, said, "Don't overthink it, it's just a favor." The favor was the car. My name never appeared on the title, but the money, the debt, the risk? That was mine. I felt like the air had changed in the room. They used me. Used my credit. Used my trust. Wrapped it all in a bow and handed it to Trent like it was his accomplishment. My palms went cold. My mind wanted to scream, but my body stayed still. I pulled out my phone and texted Norlin, my old friend and lawyer. Need you to look at a document. Fast. Might be fraud. She replied within minutes. Send it. I'll drop everything. I scanned, attached, hit send. Then sat there, motionless, watching my screen like it might reveal something redemptive. But I already knew. If I pushed this, it might get ugly. Legal ugly. Family ugly. Reputations, inheritance, stories told over dinners, all of it at risk. But if I stayed quiet, I was complicit. That night, I sent Ramona and Trent a text. Let's meet tomorrow. Talk about the car. Just us. They agreed. We met at a little cafe tucked on the edge of town. Not fancy, but quiet. Neutral ground. I got there early. Picked a booth near the back, ordered tea, laid out every document I had inside a folder. They showed up 15 minutes late. Ramona wore a stiff smile, like she was trying to seem warm without effort. Trent had his sunglasses perched on his head like some politician in hiding. Thanks for coming, I said. Ramona nodded, glancing at the folder. I opened it slowly. Slid it across the table. These are the bank statements and signed documents that funded the Ferrari. Trent blinked. Ramona gave a short laugh. Oh, come on, you're reading too much into this. That's just a mix-up in accounting. You know how paperwork gets. I didn't flinch. No. It's not a mix-up when your name is nowhere and mine is tied to a six-figure payment. Trent cleared his throat. I didn't know about this. Honestly. Ramona handled the logistics. She cut him a quick look, like he was veering off script. I'm not accusing, I said calmly. I'm stating. The facts are here. I signed what I believed was for family savings. You reassigned it and erased me. Ramona shrugged. We needed it done fast. And you said you wanted to help. No, I said I trusted you. Silence spread between us. Even the barista behind the counter paused, watching from a distance. I felt exposed. Outnumbered. But I didn't back down. I thought of my parents. Of the invitation I never received. Of the photo I never appeared in. Of the note that still sat on my counter at home. They all expected me to fold. I stood up, pulled a sealed envelope from my purse. "This is for you," I said, handing it to Ramona. She took it slowly, eyes narrow. Inside were copies of the receipts, the loan agreement, and a handwritten note on thick paper. I kept quiet too long. Now, I demand full clarity. She opened it right there at the table. Her face shifted, tightened. Jaw clenched, fingers twitching. She didn't speak. But I saw it. Fear. Anger. Panic. Not because I was wrong. But because I finally knew. I looked her in the eye. No theatrics. No tears. "Your move," I said. And I walked out. The days after the envelope felt like standing in a storm's eye, too quiet, too still, like everything around me was holding its breath. Not a single word from Ramona or Trent. No reply to the documents. No calls. No texts. I refreshed my inbox more times than I'd like to admit. Checked voicemails. Nothing. That kind of silence doesn't happen by accident. They weren't ignoring me. They were calculating. Melissa, ever watchful, messaged me. They haven't posted anything since Tuesday. Even their tagged photos disappeared. Something's brewing. And it wasn't guilt. It was strategy. I replayed the cafe moment in my mind, over and over, the look on Ramona's face when she opened that envelope. That wasn't shock. That was threat recognition. The kind that comes when someone realizes their version of the story might finally get rewritten. I sat with it. Not stewing, not sulking, but preparing. Then came the call. I was folding laundry, phone tucked on the table. The screen lit up, "Dad." I hesitated. Thumb hovered over decline. But I answered. His voice came through flat, too smooth. "Practiced. We've been thinking it's probably best if you don't come to the rehearsal dinner. No hello. No pretense." I didn't answer right away. He continued, "This wedding isn't about your issues. We can't have disruptions. You've stirred enough." Still, I stayed silent. He added, like he was offering me a chance to be reasonable, "You know how much your sisters put into this. Don't make it about you." I finally spoke, calm and clear. "You erased me. Now you're silencing me?" There was a pause. Then his voice sharpened, low, tired, irritated. "If you love your sister, don't make this worse." I didn't yell. I didn't beg. "I do love her," I said. "Enough to stop pretending." Click. He ended the call without a goodbye. I sat there a moment, staring at the folded shirts in my lap. That night, I poured a drink, opened my laptop, and began building the file. Not to expose. Not yet. But to prepare. I added the bank transfer screenshots. The erased photo. The signature I never meant to give. The note, "You will always stay behind the curtain." Every piece. Every truth. Then I hit record. I spoke calmly, the way you do when truth starts to outgrow your fear. They told me not to ruin things. But they've been erasing me for years. Pause. If I disappear from their gallery, fine. But they don't get to control the light anymore. I titled it If I'm Push.mp4. Stored it in 3 cloud accounts. That morning, as sunlight crawled across the kitchen tile, I saw it, a missed call. Ramona. Voicemail. Her voice was shaky. Thin. Almost performative. I hope you're not planning something drastic. You'll hurt Mom if this gets out. She doesn't deserve that. There it was. Not remorse. Not fear of what they did. Fear of how it might look. She ended with, "Let's just forget this happened." I hit replay. Let's just forget. I laughed. A bitter, breathless laugh that didn't even touch my lungs. They thought I was still the girl who'd take a slap and smile for the photo. The one who signed forms without reading them because family came first. The one who swallowed silence like medicine. They never imagined I'd choose clarity over comfort. I opened my email. Typed one line. Subject, "This is your final warning." Attached the voicemail transcript. Attached the photo. No explanations. No rants. Just one sentence. Keep pushing, and you'll learn how loud the silent one can be. I hit send. Closed the laptop. And sat back. Let them wonder. Let them squirm. They wanted quiet. Now they'd miss it. It was just after 7 on Saturday night. I'd finally gotten the apartment back in order, laundry folded, dishes done, emails cleared. For a brief moment, everything felt still. Then my phone pinged. Melissa had tagged me in something. Odd. She wasn't the kind of person to post much, definitely not anything about the family. I clicked the notification. It took a second to load. What appeared on my screen wasn't a post. It was a screenshot. A group chat. Title, Wedding Warriors. I wasn't in it. The members? Ramona. Trent. Dad. Mom. And Elena. My niece. My eyes locked on a meme. It was my face, captured mid-sentence from an old family dinner, distorted and slapped with text, when she tries to sound deep again. Below it, Elena had typed, she rehearsed that toast for weeks and still sounded like a sad TED Talk. Ramona responded, she always tried so hard to sound smart, bless her heart. And my father? He dropped a laughing emoji. It was a gut punch. But not the kind that knocks you out, no, this was the slow burn. The sting of realization settling into bone. I scrolled. Elena again, that needy aunt who needs a storyline. The same girl I sat with for hours proofreading college essays. The one who cried on my couch when her high school boyfriend dumped her. They were planning family trivia cards for the rehearsal dinner. One read. Only child, Ramona. First to graduate, Ramona. Favorite sibling? Depends who you ask, winky face. They had rewritten the family tree. With me erased. No rage. Not yet. Just this numb buzz under my ribs. I didn't say anything. I didn't cry. I just stood up, walked to my desk, opened my laptop, and started clicking. Screenshots, every cruel message, every sly joke, every emoji. Then I opened a draft email. Subject line, "This is your legacy." I attached the images. I added a few photos, ones they had removed from the mantle. The bank receipts. My voice memos. Everything I had been quietly collecting. I stared at the send button. But I didn't press it. Instead, I sat back and let the fire build. I heard my own voice in my head. I was the one who stayed when Mom got sick. I was the one who helped Dad after his hip surgery. I defended Ramona when she messed up her taxes. I loaned Trent money. And somehow, I'm the punchline. I shut the laptop. Called the only person who might understand. Aunt Valerie? She answered like she'd been expecting it. No hello. Just, I saw your message. I asked, did they do this to you, too? There was a long pause. Then, before your mom came into the picture. I was the smart-mouthed one who didn't know her place. They iced me out, just like this. Why didn't you say anything? Because silence was survival back then. But maybe your voice. Maybe you're the one who ends it. That hit me. Because it wasn't about my name being left off some trivia card. It was about the pattern. The generations of women told to keep quiet for the sake of peace. Told to shrink so others could shine. No more. Later that night, I opened Facebook. Found the Wedding Warriors group. I wasn't invited, but Melissa had added me. I clicked create post. Typed. I stayed quiet for years. Let them laugh. Let them erase. But here's the thing, truth doesn't vanish just because it makes you uncomfortable. I added one screenshot. The meme. My face. Then, below it. If silence kept them comfortable, then maybe truth will finally make them shift. I scheduled the post to go live during the rehearsal dinner. My hand hovered over the button. Let them taste the version of me they buried, I whispered. Then I clicked. I woke before sunrise. My phone already buzzing. Notifications. Alerts. Tags. My feed lit up with a post I never expected to see, the invitation lineup, rows of names printed in gold. Beneath, a caption, we're only counting close family. Emma's space isn't reserved. Friends tagged me. Comments flared. Ramona had posted, we told you. No drama. This is her choice. My chest went cold. I stared at that screen, feeling a silent tremor of outrage. They'd set the narrative before I even spoke. I tapped the link, fingers trembling. A local news site, a family united, the Whitlow wedding. Their gallery. Their story. Every image carefully edited. Whenever I might have belonged, wedding showers, engagement dinners, holiday dinners, I was absent. Cropped out. Erased. Removed. Even the caption credits skipped my name. Like I never existed. I took a screenshot. Heart thudding. This was public. Permanent. Then I drove up to the Whitlow estate. I arrived under polite pretenses, helping with last-minute details, packing favors, anything to be near. Inside the hall, I called out Ramona from the foyer. Guests froze. Staff kept their distance. Why delete me publicly? She smiled, cold, rehearsed. Tech issue. I raised my phone, showing the screen to everyone in the hall. Then tech fixes the real problem. Her face slackened for a moment. Dad glanced away. Mom's face went white. I held up the screenshot gallery, the caption, the article. This is your public story now. I felt power surge, sharp and clean. In the yard afterward, under twilight, I paused, catching my breath. Images of past hurts flickered, birthdays I stayed quiet at, years I swallowed my voice so no one would be embarrassed. Not tonight. This was the point where silence became strategy, not surrender. I pulled out my phone again and switched to live stream. I held up one photo, then another, the group chat meme, the bank documents, the erased captions. I looked into camera, unsteady at first, then full strength. This is clarity. This is truth. Voicemails. Edits. Hidden messages. All laid bare. The stream rippled across the feed, across platforms. People watched. Shared. Reacted. My name was no longer invisible. And as they saw, I said softly but clearly, "If you wanted me silent, you should never have challenged my voice." I woke up to buzzing, not the alarm, not birds, just a flood of notifications. For a moment, I forgot why. Then I saw the banner, Emma Whitlow, livestream truth teller. My mouth went dry. Melissa had texted 5 times. So had a few high school friends I hadn't spoken to in years. One message read, "Emma, it's all over TikTok. People are listening." I opened the app. My clip was trending, but my own blood couldn't. For the first time in a while, I cried, not from pain, but from being seen. Later that morning, I drove to the church. It had been years. They'd redone the lot, painted it white and gray, made it look sterile and spotless. But the air felt just as thick. I didn't go in, not yet. I stood outside, looking up at the steeple, arms folded. A voice behind me said, "Emma?" I turned. She was maybe mid-50s. Neat bun. Confident posture. She reached out a hand. "I'm Lacey. Choir director here years ago. I saw your video. They tried to erase you." I know. I was erased, too. We talked. In the parking lot. No rush, no performance. She told me her daughter walked away from their family for the same reasons, emotional control disguised as tradition, silence used like a belt. Then she looked me square in the eyes. "If you don't control your story, they'll weaponize your silence." She wasn't wrong. After she left, I walked the church's back trail, the same path I used to hike as a teen during summer sessions. It looked smaller now. Or maybe I was just bigger. I listened to the voicemails. Melissa first. Then Aunt Valerie. Melissa's voice cracked. "I saw what you did. I'm proud of you. Even if they hate you for it now, it mattered." I stopped at the overlook. The town below looked the same. But I wasn't. I thought of Elena. Of the cousins. Of girls like me who'd grown up thinking silence kept peace. I whispered, "No more." By early evening, I headed home. The sky was darkening, but my chest felt lighter. As I turned into my driveway, I saw a car already parked there. Not Melissa's. A black sedan. Driver's side door closed. Someone waiting. I stepped out of mine, slow. At the front porch stood Mom. She held her purse close, like it was armor. Her face was hard to read. Lips pressed tight, eyes scanning mine. She didn't smile. Her first words, "Can we talk off camera?" I didn't speak. Just stared. Something inside paused, not fear, not hope. Just pause. My last thought, before I moved? Now that the world heard me, I wonder if she finally did. She sat on the edge of the couch like she didn't belong there. Mom, in my apartment. Her purse clenched in her lap. Her eyes couldn't hold mine for more than a second at a time. I didn't come to argue, she said, voice low. I came to listen. I didn't soften. Not right away. I need ground rules, I replied. No justifying. No shrinking this down. Don't call it family drama. She nodded once. Her fingers twisted her wedding ring like it might unlock the right words. I spent so long trying to keep the image together, she said. Trying to protect peace, but I realize now that peace didn't include you. I didn't respond. Her voice cracked. I didn't know how to love two daughters differently. Ramona needed so much attention. You just handled things. I met her gaze. You didn't have to choose. But you did. Silence thickened between us. There was no apology. But there was a shift, a faint crack in the wall she'd spent a lifetime behind. She stayed for a few minutes more. We didn't hug. But she didn't run, either. That night, Melissa forwarded a message to me. A scan of a handwritten letter. Dad's handwriting. Slanted and firm. Emma, it read. I never knew how to be your father after your first no. That's not an excuse. It's the truth. He continued, but I watched your video. I see you now. I see what we did. He didn't beg for forgiveness. He didn't say he missed me. But he acknowledged the wound. And somehow, that mattered more. The next day, I met Melissa for a walk. The park was nearly empty. Just the wind brushing through tall grass and the crunch of gravel under our shoes. Do you remember the first time we came here? She asked. Yeah, I said. You were the only one who brought snacks. She laughed softly. You helped me find my voice, Em. I spent years swallowing guilt for things I didn't do. And then I saw you take all their lies and flip them. She paused, looking toward the lake. I'm thinking of leaving town. Starting over. Somewhere where I'm not someone's scapegoat. I smiled. Wherever you go, you won't be carrying their shame anymore. She reached for my hand. I'm proud of you. Even if they never say it, I will. A warmth filled my chest that no apology from Ramona could have given me. That night, back home, I opened my laptop. I drafted an email to a local nonprofit that hosted community workshops for women's advocacy. I wrote, I'm ready to speak. If my story helps one woman reclaim her voice, I'll have done my part. I attached a short video. Then I opened my banking app and transferred the money I'd saved for wedding gifts to a women's shelter downtown. After that, I took down every photo from my bookshelf, family reunions, church picnics, birthdays, and placed them in a box. All except one, Melissa's graduation. She was in the center, arms around me, both of us mid-laugh. I placed that one on my desk. This isn't erasing them, I whispered. It's freeing me. Later that week, I sat in front of my camera. No lights, no makeup, no edits. Just me. They didn't ride to her wedding in the car he gave her, I said softly. But I hope they ride into healing someday. I paused. This isn't revenge. This is release. A long breath left my lungs. No shaking. No rush. They left me out, I added. But being left out didn't break me, it woke me up. I reached to end the recording. But just before I clicked stop, a ping popped up on my screen. A comment. From a name I hadn't seen in years. Alex. My cousin. I was at the wedding, it said. You should have been there. I'm sorry. I stared at it. Maybe healing starts with one message at a time.